In today's video, we're gonna show you how to convert your factory headlight with the chrome ring to that. So let's get started. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We're over here at Flyride, who I'm going to introduce you to in just a second. But we're going to show you guys how to get rid of the chrome ring on your factory headlight and turn it into this with the black inside. Alright guys, we got Chris from Flyride. We got Jonathan. Are you Flyride?
I guess
he's everything. He's everything. Jonathan's a floater. So these guys, well, mainly Chris and then John's helping him out, but these guys are all doing headlight stuff, a bunch of craziness stuff. I don't know if I'm on to show all this, but
show the fish, show the fish.
We'll see. There, we got a blowfish up there. We got all sorts of lighting mods. These guys take everything apart, so definitely check out his channel, because if you're into lighting stuff, this is the channel. It's got it shows how to do all this stuff, how to add all LEDs and projectors, and I've seen etched projectors from these guys, all sorts of crazy stuff. Okay, so I'm just gonna whip right through it. I have separate videos on how to remove headlights, how to remove grills, all that stuff. So I'll link those above here, but I'm just gonna take it out real quick.
All right, so the first thing that I wanna do when I'm gonna take the lens off is I wanna hit this tab, because I know that this tab is made out of clear plastic. It means it's way more brittle than this black plastic right here, which is gonna respond better to heat. It's not gonna break super easy if I pry on it, whereas this stuff, if it's not hot enough, it's just instantly gonna snap. So I actually wanna pry that off the tab by getting it super hot with the heat gun. The problem is if you overheat this plastic, it's gonna start bubbling up and looking like crap. It doesn't really matter because no one ever sees it, but I just assume only do what we need to do and not just attack it to the point where it's like, I don't know, becoming completely unusable. Now that that's not holding the tab anymore, I'll be able to just literally just pull the lens straight off and it won't be trying to hook itself back into place. This thing is now ready to go in the oven. Now there's no screws or anything that's holding the actual lens in place, but look right there, you can even see where it's like bubbled up a little bit. That's what happens when you overheat clear plastic. It doesn't respond well. It's completely different than the material that's on here. If you look, it actually tells you in the fine print, this is just some nerd info right here, all the different types of plastics that are used. It says it right here on the actual back. I don't really know about plastic, so I don't care, but I know it's there in case you want to nerd out too. A lot of times people will stick permaseal headlights in the oven and they'll try to follow the advice to do with like an import car where it's got rubber butyl in there. And what you can do if you want to test it really quick is you could take a heat gun and just heat up right along this edge where we can see the sealant spilling out the edge. After I heat it up, I'm going to poke it with this little guy, with this little pick, and I'm going to see if I can get it to stretch, because what we should see is the glue, if it's soft, should stretch like old bubble gum, right? But if it's permaseal, it's just gonna tear. And that means that there's no easy way of removing the lens without actually putting a screwdriver in and kind of prying it away from the clear plastic on here. And then after that, we have to go back through the headlight and remove all of the original sealant out so that we can have it prepared and ready for the good rubber butyl. If I poke into that, it seems like, oh, it's soft, right? But look, it doesn't stretch. All that's gonna happen if I try to pick into it hard is it's just gonna tear. Right? So if I put a little flathead screwdriver in there, see how it's actually got a hard tear and it lays right back on itself? It's not stretching at all. So what would it would look like if we actually had the easier stuff is we would poke into it like this, and then as it stretches out, see how it looks like kind of like bubble gum, right? But this stuff, it's not gonna do that. So that's a side-by-side of rubber butyl versus permaseal.
So we've got the oven preheating at how many degrees? 220?
220 Fahrenheit.
220, and once it gets up to temperature, we're gonna throw the headlight in that we lifted up those two tabs, and we'll get that lens off. Okay, so we got the oven going, we got the headlight in there. 20 minutes, Chris says.
It's gonna come out a puddle.
Is there alcohol in that? There needs to be after this.
I have to work my way around this really quick with a flathead so that I can separate this permaseal from the lens. So if you heat this thing not long enough, this is going to be way harder. If you heat it enough, we should be able to work pretty quick. So just want to get this to let go a little bit. I'm not trying to like pry all hardcore into this thing yet, but there will be some aggressive action taken in a second. So I'm rocking the screwdriver back and forth, and that's basically just making this sealant let go a little bit. And it's hot. I can feel it with my hands going through these Gorilla Grip gloves. Nice thing with permaseal, at least, is I don't have to double up my gloves and put disposables on top, because this stuff will not stick to you. If you're doing an import car, this stuff is ruthless. Alright, so I've got that side done. Now I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive here, and I'm going to start trying to get to the back side of this clear lens right here. And then I'm going to use a special tool to try and pry it just a bit. Okay, so we got that first part open. Now I've got, this is called a reverse plier, and if it's not called that, I don't care. That's what I call it. It just pries everything open. I'm going to walk it in just a bit right here. And then we're going to stand it up and walk down this side as well. And we don't want to force anything. So as I go through this, it's going to start releasing, but I want this corner right here to not, I didn't want that to just like pry on it and then snap something right there. So after a little bit of pressure, it starts releasing. Now that tab down there is going to hold on a little bit. You can actually see it's already, the little tiny thin piece of plastic already let go. Alright, now there's a little angle up here that I want to get with the flathead. So this is one part. That shouldn't be very hard to do. But this section right here, I don't have a bunch of leverage on that. So I want to run the screwdriver or the flathead just through here. And if you slip with the skinny little flathead, you're going to stab yourself good, so be careful. This is a bloody job if you don't have gloves on. And if you can't get this in one go, you're going to have to heat the lights back up to go back a second time. That looks pretty good. Okay. Now we're going to start working from this side. There it is. So you can start seeing it separate from the channel. And we've got one little stubborn tab right here. What we don't want is for that guy to be holding down into place. Hey, buddy. Alright, it's fighting me. I'm almost at the point where I'm ready to stick it back in the oven. If I can't get it right now, then that's where it's going to go. The closer you get to where it's opening up, the more leverage that you have. So it does help to have it up nice and close. There it is. Cool. Alright, I think we've done it, sirs. Lay this thing down. I'm just gonna pivot it right here at the corner. Wow. Okay, this I don't want to mess with because it's really, really hard to get any sort of glossy black plastic to look perfect, especially if there's any kind of like gassing out marks or anything like that on there, because if you look, you can see little marks in there. I don't know if that's just from the heat or what the deal is, but if you wipe that, it might leave a nice, super shiny little path where you wiped it, and then not where you didn't, which means you're gonna have to wipe the whole damn thing down, and it's gonna get streaky and ugly. So I'm gonna set it out of the way so that we don't have to deal with all that.
So this is what the inside of it looks like, you guys, once you take out that big, what do you call that piece? Kind of surround or whatnot. Yeah, bezel. So that's it all apart. If you guys wanted to, you could get crazy with customizing this stuff, but most of the stuff you see is on the other piece we just removed. So right now Chris is gonna try to see how much of this rubber goop permaseal stuff he can get out, but we're gonna be replacing it with rubber butyl, you said, right?
Rubber butyl, yep.
So that stuff's a little easier to work with than this stuff, which he hates.
I hate it a lot.
Is cursing.
Life is terrible at this exact moment.
He said similar headlights, like GTR headlights that have the rubber butyl, takes like what, 1 minute?
I've done it, yeah. I've taken them out of the oven and had that lens completely removed in like 60 seconds.
Whereas this, we had them in for at least 20 minutes, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and it still barely softens up.
The GTR lights I cooked for 7 minutes, but these are 20 because it just responds way differently to the heat.
Yeah, that's crazy. So do you try to get all of it out, or
100%
just
of it?
You have to get it all out?
Yep.
Gee. So we're gonna let him work his magic. We'll leave him alone.
Slave away.
And he's gonna get all the stuff out of there. All right. So now that it's warmed up again, the goop is gooping.
Yes, it's actually coming out way easier, but only in sections where I haven't really pried much and messed with it. But it is coming out much faster. So it's not a fast process, but it's not hard work. It's just kind of like a bunch of repeating easy steps.
How many beers do you need to do this?
This is like a solid 18 pack kind of situation.
Dang, that much?
Yeah.
Shotgun or funnel?
No, you're pacing yourself. This is like an all-day kicking back, headlight between your legs, and a cold beer.
What about whiskey? No, no hard liquor,
I'm
just
a
beer.
bad man. I turn into a pirate when I drink whiskey. I pee on things and want to fight people.
All right, we're getting out of here. So Chris is extremely upset with me.
Get out of here!
Because I'm making him work on these headlights.
Take off my hat.
See? He's sweating, he's complaining, he's mad. We're going to open up the other headlight because this chrome piece, Chris has a little trick for it. So we'll show you that when we get to it. But this one's been in the oven, pried up the 2 tabs, and I'm going to attempt to split this one, but then Chris is probably going to push me out of the way and do it anyways. So we'll try. Okay guys, so I'm getting it done. What I'm finding is just, I'm sure Chris has better skills and technique, but I'm just kind of prying it up off, just kind of breaking it a little bit. And there's these little tabs, so you gotta be careful of those. But I got it pretty much out. Just this bottom corner is the last little area. So I'm just wiggling it out. And here's the last part of getting it out, but I've had to reheat it once at least now. But you just don't want to be too crazy with it. And there it is. Jeez. Alright, so there it is, you guys. Fully separated. Now we can take this off. Okay, so Chris took off the little projector surround, 4 little screws.
Yep.
Shroud thing. He's got some magic he's going to show us.
This is called the dip.
How long?
I don't know. It might not even work.
Magic sauce. We should try it on the first one before we open up the other headlight.
So what'll happen is it's actually not chrome. You can see it right there. It's a degreaser that's breaking down the aluminum because that's actually what you see. Hey. Nice.
Look at that.
Okay. Now you gotta go wash it off with water because this is messed up stuff. It's bad for you.
I feel like I'm part of a reality TV show chasing you. Out comes the air nozzle. Check that out. That's the finished product, and he is about to assemble this.
Except I can't.
He needs more hands.
Cool. Still polish it up just a little bit right here, just to make sure it came out
That looks
perfect.
legit. So we're finally getting to assembly. So he just blew all the dust off of this, got everything clean, prepped, and we got the black ring, as you guys know. And I guess that's the correct side.
Yep, let me blast it one last time.
Okay, so right now Chris is using a really expensive.
So comfortable right now. Look at this position. This is where
Look at his back.
This is what you want. This is what you want to do for a living.
Yeah, if you want to do a deadlift, lift it like this. Guaranteed to throw your back out.
I hate my life right now.
So he's using this machine to fill this up. You guys would probably be using what? Silicone would be like black silicone.
They could buy this inner rope and just push it down into place.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
I'm being fancy and stupid, and I haven't raised my platform for it, so 6'3" bent over is not comfortable.
So anyways, besides his height issue, he's filling this whole channel. And since where he started over here is going to be cold by the time he gets around, he's going to put this back in the oven, let it all kind of goo up. You put this back in the oven before you put the clear lens on, right?
So yeah, typically when it's not hot enough, because I just filled this thing back up, so the glue should be way runnier than this. But we don't want to wait for like another hour for it to get super hot and be the perfect temperature, because it's like an hour. We're in like triple overtime right now. So I'm just working with it as is and holding this hunchback pose for as long as I can handle it.
Here's the pose. And yeah, so he's gonna fill it up, throw it back in the oven, heat it up, and then throw the lens on. So after the oven,
and then
he puts in the bezel. It just sits in there, no screws.
And then this is kind of a, gotta get it to sit in there. Oh, come on, little tabby. Yeah, if it doesn't line up right there and slide all the way into that corner, nothing else matters. Now I'm going to clamp it down right chaw. Make sure that everything goes where it's supposed to. And then squeeze. All these tabs got to sit right back where they were, so I kind of got to start back on this side. Buff fingers. I'm gonna clamp it right here. Scary thing is these clamps shoot off sometimes while you're working, so it can be a little sketch.
It's like me.
Ha ha ha! I just fire off right at people.
I just shoot off when I'm not expecting it.
Oh, the jokes are becoming delirious now.
we've been just sniffing on fumes all day.
Inhaling poison and spilling goo-gone.
There he goes, folding those two tabs over after you heat them up with the heat gun. Bam! Check that out, you guys. So all black in there. You can still see that Ram logo. And I'm gonna go ahead and bolt this one up. Alright guys, so that's gonna be a wrap for this video. A huge shout out to Flyride for helping us out on this project. I know we kept them up late for this one.
It's all good. I gotta go inside before my wife kills me. But
it took a while, so he's not lying when he says about that permaseal stuff. Permaseal, right?
Yep.
Just being an absolute nightmare to remove. Like, we had to put those things in the oven at least, you know, half a dozen to a dozen times to get it to free up and pick it all out of there. But then once you put the, what's it called, butyl? Rubber butyl in there. If we ever want to service these headlights again, it's much simpler. You can heat them up, take them apart, and you don't have to pick all that stuff out. So probably doing more mods to these in the future, but at least all the hard part is done. But huge shout out to him. I will link his channel down below as well. You can check out a ton of other lighting mods. He's got courses, nerds out on all sorts of stuff, sequential, LED, OLED, I don't know what else. It's about as far as my knowledge goes on that stuff.
My brain normally works better.
But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up. Check out Flyride's channel. I'll see you guys on the next video.